case there's a countdown.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. My name is Claire Bryant and I'm the assistant professor of cello here at the School of Music at Carolina, and I'm so happy to be joined with my fellow low-string colleague, Dr. Craig Butterfield, who is the professor of bass and jazz studies here at the School of Music. And today we are bridging your week with a special live episode where we are going to be talking about all things technology and how technology really can play a part in our musical lives. And I'm excited because I'm going to learn a lot about this looper that Dr. Butterfield, Craig, has brought to share with us today. We also will have a live performance, so please stick around. We're spurring our future. We're going into the future and seeing how technology can play a role in our classical music lives. Tell me about the looper and how it works.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I should just say as a little background how I got into using this technology myself. Back in the early days of YouTube, I started producing these videos where I would record one bass part in my office here at the School of Music, and then I'd record another part on top and another part on top, and kind of edit all these videos together and edit the audio together and basically do like a full orchestra or a full band just with one instrument, kind of by layering myself again and again. And I quite like that. It was a lot of fun, but I'm a performing musician. It's what I really love to do. And so the drawback is I couldn't really do that in front of an audience. And so I started looking around for ways that I could do a similar performance or similar performances in front of a live audience. And so I knew of the existence of these looping pedals, and guitarists have been using them for a long time. They hadn't really been used at that point very much in with string instruments or more what we might call classical instruments, like what I play. And so I kind of got one, and I started fooling around with it and kind of see how I could replicate what I was doing live in front of an audience. And so I brought sort of a visual aid, and this is one type of looping pedal. There's a lot of them out there on the market, and this is just kind of the one that I started using quite a bit. And as you can see, it's got a bunch of buttons here. And the idea is that you can use your foot to control this. So essentially, each one of these buttons along the bottom is a different loop or a different part of a song. And so I could create one loop that might be an A part of a song, and I can just make it by itself, or I could stack more and more parts on top of it. And then I could go to loop B and have that be another part of the song. And again, I could stack as many parts as I wanted to, and I could do all this live in real time with an audience there.
So like, for example, like you hit the first button, it records what you're playing in real time. So maybe you start with something simple that's going to be the bottom layer. And then you hit the next one, and it's recording the next thing that you're playing while the other thing is playing.
That's right.
So you're just basically creating your own band, sort of a one-man band, per se.
That's right.
I've seen actually, like, you mentioned guitarists, but also I've seen indie artists use this live where they actually are using their voice or their instrument. Tell me about your first performance using this. How was that? Was that like new nerves? Did you feel new nerves?
Yeah,
there?
it's a coordination thing because I'm not used to having to hit things with my feet while I'm used to having to coordinate my hands. That's what we do, and we train for a long time to do that accurately, hopefully. But having to do that and then hit certain things with your feet was a whole other level of complexity. And so I would, it's almost like choreography. I would practice the steps. I would practice, okay, at this point in the song, I've got to hit this, and then this, and then this. And then my mind automatically goes to complexity, so I kept thinking, okay, well, how could I do more? How could I add more parts and add more parts? And so this kind of pedal is very versatile. You could actually tie the loops together rhythmically, so I could make a loop that maybe was 6 seconds long, and then every other loop is going to be a multiple of that. It could be 12 seconds or 18 seconds, but that means that the loops are tied together, and then they will sync together at the same time. So I could create like a rhythmic loop. I could do some percussion on my instrument and have like a drum loop, and then every other loop would automatically sync to that loop. So there's all these different modes and all these different functions. And as I was performing more and more with this, I started thinking that this is actually a very useful educational tool. Not only was I sort of dissecting songs in a creative and sort of new way, I was taking songs and sort of within the format of the pedal, I was thinking, okay, how can I make a full version of this song that doesn't take me 40 minutes, so I'm not trying to create every part, but what's the eldest essential elements of this song, and how can I replicate that? And then in addition, I was doing quite a bit of improvising, and some composing and arranging also. I was thinking, okay, how do I write a counterpoint or a second theme to this? It may not be in the song, but it might be interesting. And so I was kind of realizing that there's quite a bit of educational benefit for students with this technology, in addition to the fact that a solo performer can do something using this technology that they could never do before.
That is so cool. I wish when I was in school I had the opportunity to work with something like this, because I feel behind the times. I think, can you tell me a little bit about how students are gravitating towards this type of technology, and how is it being used in your classroom, both in your studio but also beyond that?
Sure. Well, I teach this as an independent study for any student that's interested in working on this technology with me. And this semester I have 2 students studying with me. One is an undergrad bassoon major and one is an undergrad flute major. And they are doing everything from Wolfpack to Bach to Radiohead arrangements. And so they pick projects that they want to take on, or musical pieces that they want to do. And I work with them on how to arrange these pieces for use with the looping pedal. I'm also using that as a vehicle to work on improvisation, and not just song arranging, but also improvisation. So some of them are laying down chord progressions and bass lines, and then we work on elements of improvising over the tune. So that's essentially what I'm doing with those students with this looping pedal. And we also have a live demonstration of this technology coming up shortly with a student that I worked on last semester, or last year rather. It was spring of 2020. Named Pedro Falcon, and Pedro is a doctoral student on oboe, and so he's using oboe, but also other instruments that you'll see to create his own music using the looping technology.
Awesome. Well, thank you for describing a little bit about how this works, and I cannot wait to invite Pedro to the stage. We're here at the Coker Center, live from the Coker Center, in this beautiful art gallery that is open to the public, so you should come by and view this beautiful art that has been, a lot of it has been created, I can see, during times of COVID. So please come by. And Pedro, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'll let you all describe a little bit about how you work together in this independent study that Dr. Butterfield was speaking about. And how did you learn about the looper? And why did you choose to ask him to do a project together?
Yeah, I was in a meeting with Dr. Nagel, my professor, and I was showing her my traditional Venezuelan instruments, and she said, oh, you should try something to put all of them together. And I was, okay, how could I do that? And she told me about the looper pedals and how we have a professor here that has experimented and has experience with that. And we applied for a Spark grant. I got the looper with the Spark, and after that I applied for the class with Mr. Butterfield, and it was an amazing experience because I could put everything together, and it was amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah, do you want to tell us about what you're playing today
Okay.
for us, and what piece you put together? You mentioned traditional Venezuelan instruments, and I take it you're from Venezuela.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay, I played all, and the piece that I will play is called Gaban Venezolano. And Gaban is a bird from Venezuela, and it's a traditional rhythm we dance there. And we do it with this instrument that is Venezuelan cuatro. And other instrument, a traditional instrument, is maracas. And this is the other instrument that I will use for the looper. So I will try to make a fusion between the traditional Venezuelan instrument and the oboe. That is something that it took me a little time, and Mr. Butterfield helped me with that, and it was, I will present you the final product.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. We're going to give you the stage, and Pedro Falcon, ladies and gentlemen. so much to this Wednesday. Tell me, with the melodic stuff that you were playing, was that also traditional melodies?
Yes, and the melodies that I was using, they are part of the traditional Venezuela, the traditional Gapan, but also because it's using an easy harmonic pattern. I was improvising on part of the music because it's part of the looper. That is the nature of the looper is also that we improvise and add different layers or develop the ideas.
Right, that's really great. So I'm sure that you're very glad that you had this experience learning through the looper, and now you're performing through the looper, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. And you're fusing together your traditional, the music from your country with your instrument and the instruments from your country. So that's really fantastic, Pedro. Thank you so much. You have a recital coming up.
Yes.
And I would like to share that information because you're going to be using even more technologies, I hear, and more pedals and more electronics and things. Tell us when your recital is and how people can view it. I think they can view it right here on our YouTube channel at the School of Music, so make sure that you subscribe. Okay. And tell us when it is.
Yes, my next recital is for April 20. It's next Tuesday. It's going to be at 4:30 p.m. And I will be using different pedals that I can connect, reverb, delay, chorus, and also soundtracks and videos that I have to play together, everything together.
Fantastic. So it's a multimedia experience as well as musical. Really wonderful. Thank you so much to Pedro and to Craig Butterfield for being our special guest and introducing the looper pedal for us today live from the School of Music at Carolina. My name is Claire Bryant. Thanks so much for tuning in to Bridging Your Week, and we will see you next Wednesday at noon.